Bobby, welcome to Elios.
Yo, Elios.
It's my favorite place to be.
It seems like an alright spot.
On the Somniel. Yeah, I mean this place is a little verdant and kind of nice right now, but maybe not go up here. That gets a little darker up there.
Yeah.
Bobby, welcome to Fire Emblem Engage. I can't wait to engage with you about this
Let's
quick look
get
and all the things this game can do. Whoa, that's a little formal.
Well, this is Fire Emblem, and it seems to be the theme.
Well, to be fair, there are Fire Emblem games where you can marry and pair up. This is not one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Fire Emblem Engage. This game has been out when we're recording this about 2 days. Bobby, how much time do you think you have into Fire Emblem Engage?
I'm probably hovering around 6 to 7 hours, I would say, somewhere in there.
Oh, 6. That's cute. That's where that save was. I've played a lot of this game.
I love you, my man, but I don't know if I would be really flexing with that. There's been 2 days. There's been 2 days since this game's come out, everybody, and Chase has already sunk a day's worth of time into it.
It's been a long weekend.
So obviously Chase likes it. Why don't we take a look and see why he likes it?
Sure. Yes. I'm going to do a skirmish, and then we'll show off a little bit of the Somniel.
Oh, really quick, Chase. This is on the Nintendo Switch. This is a $60 game. Exclusive to the Switch. There's a long history of Fire Emblem. Chase Kennedy, our co-host, talks about Fire Emblem a lot in the course of our show.
Maybe my favorite series.
Maybe
it kind of jockeys with Pokemon day to day, one of the two.
But he's a big fan, and we were all very happy for him. And I cannot think of a better person to tell you all about Fire Emblem. So whether you're new to our show, whether you are old to our show, you're in for a treat right here. So you got a little tour for us here.
I'm gonna try not to go too in depth. I'll save that for our main podcast on Wednesday, the Casual Hour. But we'll just we'll do a little tour. We'll do a couple quick things. I just want to show some stuff off.
Spoiler warning at all?
There will be a spoiler warning, I guess, for characters. Okay. I'm playing in this first area. This is where the area that everybody will start in. But I do have some mid-game characters that I'll probably be using. You don't start off with that many characters. I'll tell you that. So I've got a.
Everybody has a ring too. That's wild to see.
They have rings, but they're all not emblem rings. We'll talk about emblem rings here in a bit. So I'm gonna take off a couple people here and add a couple people. Some people I don't want to show too much.
Chase, you have 30 seconds in an elevator with me, and I ask you the question: what is Fire Emblem? What do you say?
A Fire Emblem is chess, except it's an RPG.
Okay,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Great.
It's a lot of fun characters.
As Chase is picking out his squad here, I'll just highlight. You can see in the upper left-hand corner, this unit set selection allows 10. It will vary between skirmish to skirmish. Sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's more. That's why he's doing what he's doing right now on picking his squad.
Yeah, I should have swapped positions of characters, but that's all right. This will work just fine. All right, so I've got my 10 dudes. You can see here's a bunch of enemy dudes that I need to fight. Bobby, the last Fire Emblem you played, or the last Fire Emblem most people played, was Fire Emblem Three Houses, where they didn't have this classic Fire Emblem concept, which is called the weapon triangle, where swords beat lances, or swords beat axes, axes beat lances, and lances beat swords. And then there's kind of another one with magic and arts in here. So there's a lot of stuff. You have a lot of different characters that can do a lot of different things. I think I really am enjoying this game because of how much more limited I think it is than Three Houses. In Three Houses, you could take these characters and you could teach them all these different proficiencies, and then you could put them in kind of whatever class you wanted them to be in. And in some cases, you'd get really wild, like getting a full team of Wyvern riders, which is too much. That's ridiculous. Nobody should do that. I mean, it was actually very effective in the game, but it was kind of silly. That's not going to work.
Really quick, Chase, can you just walk me through and walk our friends through? I'm seeing some blue squares, red squares. If I'm completely new here, quick snapshot, 20,000 zoomed out view. What am I looking at here?
Sure. Blue squares are the squares that I can move into. That's where my character can move, and red squares are the places I can attack.
Okay.
One of the interesting things here, it's not exactly free movement, but it's close to free movement with the actual character. That's something that's a little bit different from previous Fire Emblem games. I think it's kind of cool.
This one looks
so you got all these
lot more like the older Fire Emblem as far as this view here, compared to Three Houses especially, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Three Houses visually was something interesting. This might not be a great map. There's some hefty enemies here.
She's got a big old axe there.
Oh yeah, Jade's one of my favorite new characters here. All right, we'll just go around. Oh, also, so you can do the same thing with enemies. You can see their movement and what spaces they can attack, but you can also hit the L button at any time. And now, this is where any enemy can attack, like the whole range of all the enemies, the danger zone here. So you see most of it's danger zone because this flying unit can go lots of different places. But if I put somebody in front of them, like this unit, I don't know if this is necessarily the best place to put her, but we'll keep her there for now. And now you can see fewer spaces. There's a little bit, now they have to move around to get to some people. So
Tell me where.
we're gonna protect some of our other guys here. So people like our squishy healer, or not healer, mage, isn't going to get completely destroyed. These yellow spaces, when you have this game connected to the internet, this is where where other players had characters fall, and you can wait here and then get a little bonus. So I got 10 bond fragments there. The purple spaces here are where they killed enemies, and it's a little, this is a Strand game, Bobby.
I'm picking up on that.
Yeah, it's got like a tiny bit of that where you can pick up some of these little bonuses.
I don't think I mean, I have those turned on. I don't think I knew. By the way, I like Chloe quite a bit.
You mean Chloe?
Chloe, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. I also like Chloe.
I didn't realize that it was from other players interacting on their server. That's cool.
I think they mentioned it one time during the game. But yeah. So I'm fighting. These are much stronger enemies than you would normally face in this area. But again, I'm relatively far in, and
man, I do not have Jade yet, and Jade looks very cool.
Yeah, Jade, you'll get her in the second area in Brodia.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of the big tanky classes in this version of Fire Emblem specifically. There are other Fire Emblems where they feel like they don't maps are really big and you have to try to move everybody at once, and these big armored guys can't move all that far each turn, so they end up just lagging behind. But this game, I think, has a pretty good use for every class, and I've really been enjoying using them.
You got it turned up too, I can see.
Yeah, I turned it to fast.
Smart.
At some point, you just need to get this stuff going.
I mean, when you put 26 hours in, who can really put up with a few more minutes?
So, magic units like Citrine here, they're going to be better against armored units like this. So you can see she's going to crush here. There's also a semi-new mechanic here, and that's this chain attack, where if you're near specific units, they're called backup units. They can perform these chain attacks if they're in the vicinity of the enemy. So this guy, Diamant, and this guy, Boucheron, were close enough to this enemy where they could trigger those chain attacks and do a little bit of extra damage. Enemies can do that too, and sometimes they can kind of sneak up on you of, oh, I didn't know that somebody was going to be able to do this much damage to me. Another mechanic, we're not going to exactly get to see its full effects. Actually, we can make it happen here. We'll use her. Nah, she can't make it there.
And one other thing I'll ask too after you do this is, like, maybe can you talk a little bit about, or could you break down what break is?
Yes, that's what I was doing here.
Okay.
I was just trying to get to a good spot. The problem is I'm going to break, but I'm also going to kill this enemy, so it's not going to show it off. But breaking, so there's the weapon triangle, which I explained, the swords and axes and lances. But if you are on your phase, player phase, of attacking an enemy, you're initiating combat, and you have the weapon triangle advantage over them, like he has an axe, I have a sword, you can break that enemy, which means they lose their weapon, they won't be able to counterattack. So even though this screen here says that I might take 15 damage back, I'm not going to do that because I break him and he'd lose his weapon, and then he loses that weapon for the rest of this turn of combat, or this half turn of combat. He'll get it back on his turn, but that means all my other guys could come in and attack him for free. Now the problem is I'm just going to kill him here with this attack anyway, so nobody will get that follow-up chance.
And the other thing too, like I appreciate is like it's just a nice way to guarantee like no counter, which is super handy.
Right. If you have really weak units who you're trying to level up, if you can get somebody to break an enemy and then go in, here we might be able to do it on this one better. Unless he also dies, which he probably will.
As you can see, kind of right now.
Oh no, he's gonna live.
Over left-hand corner of the enemy tile, it'll let you know that you are breaking them with that little symbol crossing out there. Yep. That's a nice little touch, I think, from an aesthetic and UI.
I think there's a lot of really good UI here. This is one of the best weapon combat preview screens that I've seen in a Fire Emblem game. I really just
very, very
all
good.
The information's out there for you.
Oh, can you press
It's
X
really,
too?
really useful. Sure.
Because that brings up a little bit like even more detailed stuff if you were interested in like what that would be. I mean, there's all kinds of tool tips and shit you can get. And from a strategy standpoint, like I think it's super powerful.
Yeah, so I could use this like Folk Vanger here. This is a DLC weapon. If you've played Fire Emblem Heroes, you can get a code to get the sword from that. But then I can also switch to what if I use my Killing Edge, and what does that do instead? Well, it has worse physical attack, worse speed. I'd have these reduced stats if I use this, but it has a way higher crit chance of potentially killing this guy in one go, because crits do triple the damage. Anyway, we're going to use this. We're going to hope he lives, so then I can attack him with somebody else for free. I also have her at max level. I need to put her in a new class. We'll do that afterward in a bit. So even though Chloe here is one of my weaker units, and she also has the weapon triangle disadvantage against this guy has no axe right now, so she can pretty much kill him for free. This is probably not the best thing to do because I'm putting her in a bunch of danger from all of these guys, but this is not going to be, we're not going to keep this safe. But I do want to show off a couple things. I'll show off Engage now. This is one of the big new features. This is the Engage of Fire Emblem Engage. So there are these emblem rings. We'll talk more about those when we get to the Somniel, but they are heroes from previous Fire Emblem games. So Tiki is from Fire Emblem 1, and also some other ones because of that, but mostly from Fire Emblem 1. And when you have a character equipped with them, you can do this thing called engaging. So let's engage with Anna.
All right.
Now she's a big fucking dragon.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Tiki is a DLC emblem ring that can do some cool stuff.
How is she, by the way? You like her?
Yeah, I think she's brokenly good.
Awesome.
She's very, very, very good. So engaging, I can be in this upgraded form for 3 turns before going back to my normal character. And then you have to build that gauge back up as you play to be able to do it again. But you can do it multiple times per map. And when you're in this engaged form, you're a stronger enemy, or you're a stronger unit. You have a couple of different things available to you. You also get different weapons that you can use. So I can use these dragon stones, which Anna normally wouldn't have access to. She's an axe person, but because she's now in the dragon form, she can use any of these. So
Very cool.
I could use Fire Breath now. Fire Breath's not very good. I'll just use the regular claw.
And
so now I can claw the hell out of this guy.
Please do. I want to see this.
Yeah, sure. Look at me, big fuck off dragon.
Dude, that's a fucking dragon and a half. Look at that thing. Holy shit. I don't know if I'm getting ahead of you here, and if I am, just tell me to shut up. But one of the things that I've just been able to recently do in my save, which is not 26 hours again, is the inherit the skills. And maybe we'll talk about that later on. So if we are, that's cool, but I think that's neat.
Yeah. So when you engage, or when you have the engaged emblem rings here, you gain this bond rating with the ring, or with the entity inside the ring, and then you can use those as you level those up. You can gain access to different skills, and you can also unlock those skills permanently on your character, kind of like Chained Echoes, where you can learn enough of the skill and max it out, and then it's yours. We can kind of do a similar thing here, where we have the skill, and then we can pass that ring off to somebody else, and we can keep the skill from it, and then we'll go through. So we can show a little bit off that at the Somniel as well. One interesting thing about the breaking, I can't. Oh wait, he's not an armor guy. Armored units don't seem to break in the same way that other units break, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, I'm only going to do a couple more attacks here, and then I think we'll just take the Somniel. I don't need to show off this full battle. This would take a while.
I feel so. I don't have near the history that you do with the series, but in what I've experienced so far with it, and I guess especially coming off the heels of Three Houses, which I liked a whole lot. My first Fire Emblem game that I played a little bit of, I didn't finish all of it because I didn't have the means to, but I got to fuck around with Johnny's 3DS and play some Awakening. And I get a very similar feeling playing this than I did when I played that.
I think this game manages to combine basically every Fire Emblem game into this one. And this game, that makes a little bit of sense, because this game is a 30th anniversary game in a way for the series, and you definitely feel some of the anniversary stuff here. I mean, part of it is just, hey, we brought back all of your old friends from the old games,
for sure,
and they're here too as part of these emblem rings, which could be a little off-putting. I imagine for somebody like you who doesn't know who the hell Leaf is, and nor should you. You go into a game like this and you go, I don't know who this guy is, but they're telling me he's important, and I guess he is.
Yeah, I totally dig on what you're saying there, and there's a lot of truth to that. I'll say it's also nice because I don't have anything but my own opinions at this point in time. And so when I see people, oh, sorry, Jade. I'm like, okay, I know that they have some importance, but like I'm formulating my first thought of them here, which is nice.
Yeah, and I mean, people had that with Smash Brothers too. Nobody knew who Marth was, but totally. Like, oh, hey, this guy's with the sword is pretty cool. And then we got to see his game, and people started to like Fire Emblem. I mean, that's how it worked for me. I didn't know who Marth was until playing Smash Brothers, and then seeking more out about this series, and so yeah.
Very cool.
All right, we're gonna, after this enemy turn here, we're gonna quit out of this, just so we can show off the Somniel. Here, I can just skip it if I need to. All right, we will have to get me out of here. Quit out, so all this is not saved. That's fine.
And that was a skirmish, which is not a story mission, right?
Correct. These are repeatable missions that you can play to get more experience, get some gold, and they pop up around the map, and you can continue just doing them as much as you want. So we will show off I love these sprites. It makes me wish they made a game with these sprites in it. Like, give me, you know how they made a bunch of different versions of Dragon Quest 11,
Yes.
and I mean, we never got the 3DS one, but they made a 3DS one that was much smaller. I mean, it had all the same mechanics and the same story and everything. It was just on the 3DS, and it was different than the one we got for PS4 and now eventually Switch. I kind of wish they did that here and just said, "Hey, here's a 3DS one, and then hey, here's also the big Switch one if you want that too." They're not making new games for the 3DS. That's fine.
No.
All right, Bobby, we are at the Somniel. The Somniel is basically, if you've played Three Houses, the Garrick Mach Monastery.
Okay.
Where you can walk around, you can talk to people. Hello, Bunet? I just got him, so I don't know anything about
Bonet Brown is what that person's name
Other
is.
than in English, he's the voice of Whis from Dragon Ball Super, which, you know, you're a big anime fan,
Yeah,
so you know all about
I
Whis.
knew that already. Thank you for
Yeah.
reminding me of my knowledge. Appreciate it.
So this is I would say this is a smaller area than the monastery, and
I am not
think it's better
complaining.
for it. No, not at all. There's still a bunch of stuff you can do here between missions. Sometimes there will be little glowing spots around these orchards where you can pick up ingredients that can be used in cooking recipes.
I see that
here is
you're a
the
smart
amiibo
man.
gazebo.
Oh, that's very good. You're a smart person like
Yeah.
me, and you keep the big map open.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have already scanned my amiibo for the day, but you can scan not just your Fire Emblem amiibo, but any amiibo will work in here. And then you can get access to some exclusive outfits. You
Nice.
get the outfits as you meet the emblem rings they correspond to.
Okay.
Like I am wearing, let me go back into that. Like you can see my Alir here is wearing a very Lucina inspired outfit from Fire Emblem Awakening.
Is Lucina in this one? I was going to ask you. I know that you're a fan of hers.
She is.
Okay.
She is. She is my emblem ring on Alir right now.
Man, you just can't contain
I only-
yourself there.
I only have these 4 at the moment, but
Okay.
you get more and potentially lose some at some point.
Oh.
So you can go around here. There's a fishing spot. If you missed the fishing in Three Houses, I guess it's a better mini game. I don't like it. I just don't. I don't think it's very worthwhile. What's up?
While we're doing this, I'm going to go ahead and call something out.
Okay.
At the end of the year, we were playing Marvel's Midnight Suns, and I really enjoyed the combat there. But they had a similar location in that game where you were managing kind of some social links, and it was exhausting. And I'm not too far into this, but I'll say I think this is a much better approach to building one of those in. This does not feel more important than the game itself, but it feels necessary to the game rather than tacked on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you still come in here and you do things. There are ways of just fast traveling around the map. You don't have to walk around like I do, or I have been here. But there are things you can do. Oh, hi, Sami.
Oh,
Have you gotten Sami yet, Bobby?
I haven't. I have Obi. I don't know about Asami.
Oh, did you name him?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I kept him as his regular name. They said, hey, you can name this guy, and I'm like, well, what are they gonna call the little dog at the Somniel? Is he Sami? And then it opened up, and he's like, yeah, do you want to name him Sami? I'm like, oh, I guess so.
So do
There
you
you
feed?
go.
Do you feed Sami every time you go back?
I did until I got him to max at one point, and then I realized that getting him to max didn't really do anything for me.
Okay.
So then I kind of stopped. You do get bond fragments. Bond fragments you can use to get some of those skills we talked about with the emblem rings.
Okay.
But yeah, I kind of there's a lot of this stuff that feels a little unnecessary for me, and I've kind of just stopped doing.
Yeah, I guess that's a better way of saying what. Like, there's stuff that you had to do in Marvel's Midnight Suns. Here, this is more like you can, not no pun intended, engage with it as much as you'd like to, or not.
Sure. Bobby, does this look a lot like what your Somniel looks like?
Just
a bunch of dogs?
Just a bunch of dogs, man.
So I will say, one, I mean, yes, they're dogs, so you got to put them in here. The dogs also get you the best crafting materials. I mean, I could put in a sheep or a rabbit or cats, but they don't get you the good items like the dogs
Nobody
do.
wants
The
mass
dogs,
hysteria.
yeah, the dogs find some good items. And then you got like a player card here. You can go over there and do. There's this training stuff that will give you temporary boost to your stats for a mission. I think all the mini games are bad, so I don't do this anymore.
I'm glad we're not doing it, but anybody who
Yeah.
did the event in I guess it was a pull-up event in Final Fantasy VII.
I was gonna say in Cyberpunk,
But yeah, that too. It's very much that.
but yes, so really, the things that I mainly go to are back here. There is the arena, which you can go into. I'm not going to travel here because there's a load screen and it's pointless, or because I've already used all my training sessions this time, so I don't want to just go through a couple load screens for no reason. But you can go in there, you can train individual units to get a little bit more XP.
Nice.
You can also increase their bond rating. So you can see I have a bond rating here at the top middle of the screen, bond 7 with Lucina. That can go up to 20. You can just buy levels for those in the arena, but you can also use them in battle when they have the ring equipped, and then they can naturally get that extra bond. You can also come in here. I think I've already done my food. Yeah, I've done my food already. But you can come in here, you can order a meal, you can share it with 2 different people, similar to the way you did in Three Houses, and all of you will gain some support with each other. Supports go into this reference here. You can go into the support and you can see how your characters feel about each other. Right now I have like a B support with Jade. I've got B supports with a lot of people. But each of these gives you increased stats when you're standing next to each other, and you also can gain more support by standing next to each other in battle.
Nice, man.
We will go to the ring chamber real quick. I want to show off this stuff. This is how you get the inherited skills that you talked about.
Yeah, that's great. I want to see how you approach this.
So again, I bought the DLC stuff, which means you get a couple of extra bond rings. One of them is Tiki, which we showed off, and then another one, where's Boucheron? Here he is the Three Houses trio. So this says Edelgard, but it's Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude all in one single ring. Technically, they say it's a bracelet. It is. In fact, they switch off every turn randomly. Huh. So sometimes you get Edelgard's bonuses, sometimes you get Dimitri's bonuses, sometimes Claude's. So you can come in here and you can buy any of these skills with SP. Those are skill points. You get skill points over the course of doing damage, killing enemies. That's just a whole separate thing that is only for this skill menu. So I kind of don't know what to make of this so far. I think all these skills are very expensive. As you can see, I can only afford a couple of them. And I don't know why I would ever buy Strength Dex +2 when I could just wait and get Strength Dex +5. I don't think I can keep both of them on at the same time.
Yeah,
So
don't they make a comment about
just
not
feel like
overlapping?
Some of these, like here, this one, when I have Edelgard equipped as the emblem ring, this doesn't overlap. I can't get weapon sync twice. I just get it once. But if I inherit this from Edelgard and then give Edelgard's bracelet to another character, then Boucheron could still have this weapon sync skill on.
Okay, that makes sense.
But again, I don't. It's possible that if I buy Bogard 2, then that makes Bogard 3 cheaper when I unlock that. I'm not sure. I don't feel like you get enough SP to really fuck around with this stuff, so I haven't tried to test that. I don't want to jinx it. One I did buy, and I've bought on basically every character I can, is Lineage here, which is a pretty cheap skill. It only costs you 150 skill points. Edelgard, this DLC ring, it is a little pay to win here, where this just gives you 20% bonus experience. on, and I've unlocked that on many characters. I've unlocked it on Jade. I've unlocked it on Alear. You know, just hey, it's an extra 20% experience points. I'm absolutely going to take that.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge thing to have, right?
Yeah, I mean it stacks up. There are also these extra bond rings. These are not emblem rings, but I can purchase some. Let's create one.
What exactly do these do?
So these are just stat bumps. This Nino one here boosts speed and res. It doesn't, like Nino from Fire Emblem 7, the Blazing Sword, doesn't actually show up like Lynn or Lucina does, but they are just extra boosts you can attach to anybody.
And you
the
can't
problem
have
is
one
you
of
can't
those
more...
and the other ring on, right?
Correct. You can only wear one ring at a time.
Okay.
So if you want your emblem rings, which are the ones that give you the most stuff, you want to use those. But then if you have other characters left, you can use these other bond rings to just kind of pad out their stats a little bit. Okay. There's also there's not a face touching game exactly like there has been in some previous Fire Emblem games, but there is this this polish feature where I can look at me. I'm just rubbing this ring.
That's clean.
Problem is it's already clean, so I'm not getting anything out of it.
This is not the thing that you want to be doing when your partner or friend.
I mean, it's better. It's better than Fire Emblem Fates, where they had like a literal mini game where you can just touch somebody's face. That was a little weird.
Oh boy!
But you do get some extra bond levels with by doing that. So that's
listen.
something.
You start polishing stones, you are gonna bond.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let me show off a couple more things here, and then we can call it a day.
Chase, can you tell me who your favorite character is so far?
Man, that's tough. I've got a few. I think a lot of the main cast is pretty cartoonish in maybe a bad way. I think it's especially bad when you let me go back to the emblem rings, where I think the voice acting and characters from these known Fire Emblem characters are really good and have kind of the appropriate amount of gravitas that you'd want out of, hey, I'm this legendary fucking hero and I'm going to talk like it. Whereas a lot of these characters are just kind of who's the one I'm talking about? There we go.
Boy.
Yunaka with little stars in her hair. She's just a cartoony,
she's a lot, man.
Silly thing. She is anime incarnate, and it's not great. Some of it's not very good. Some of these characters, though, I think are really good. I like Boucheron a lot.
Yeah,
I like
Boucheron's
Lapis
good.
a lot. Lapis might be one of my favorite characters here.
I don't think I have Lapis yet. Maybe I just got Lapis. I think I just got Lapis.
Yeah, she comes a little bit later.
Did she come with the archer? That one guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I just
she
got
comes
her.
with Alchrist. I really, man, I don't know how to feel about Alear.
Yeah.
Couple things. Still hate the hair. After 25 hours, I still absolutely hate the hair. I think it's better if you get a male Alear because there's less of it. It looks a little more subtle.
Why is the hair the way it is?
I think, if you ask me, I think what they're doing is trying to say, hey, we know Marth and Roy are like the big two Fire Emblem guys, and one of them has red hair and one of them has blue. What if we combined them? I think that's what they're doing in this kind of 30th anniversary fan servicey way. It just looks really bad.
It's bad. And it's interesting too, because on the male Alear, the eye and the hair is reversed.
Oh, is it really? Jesus.
So I don't know why they decided that, but that's the thing.
That's funny. The problem is I actually really like Alear as a character. I like her voice acting. I like her personality. I think the story that they're telling here in this game is pretty bad, just pretty boring.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was way more into the story of Three Houses so far.
Yeah, but I like her as a character generally. All right, let's go in. I want to show off the smithy. So there are a couple of Fire Emblem games where you could forge weapons. You can make weapons even stronger. In this, they call it refining. But this is very similar to how they do it in Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia, where you can come in and you can use... I'm going to take this Folkvanger here. And you have these different currencies that you can use to make these weapons stronger. Iron ingots there on the left, then steel ingots, silver ingots, and then the straight up money to buy this stuff. So you can get some pretty decent stat bumps. This thing starts with 10 might, basically doing 10 damage plus whatever your strength stat is, and it's got a weight of 6, which slows you down. But then if I upgrade this to +5, which I'm about to do here, significant upgrade in its damage, decent weight reduction, so my character could be even speedier and potentially double attack. It has a higher hit rate, and it gets a little bit of a crit chance as well. So I think that's just an overall good thing to do. The problem is you just don't get a ton of these materials as you play the game.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be able to upgrade every single weapon in my vault, nor would I want to. Like an iron sword, it's fine, but it's an early game weapon. You don't really need this. But what you can do, you can also evolve these weapons into other weapons here. So I could turn this iron sword into this sword, which I believe is going to be a steel sword. Or I can change it into these other ones. This one looks like an armor slayer. It is an armor slayer. You can see that little knight helmet icon.
Yeah.
That means it's stronger against armored units. And then this one has 30 extra crits, so this will be a killing edge. And you can then upgrade those things. So I do have a killing edge, so you can upgrade your killing edge and get even more crit chance or even more strength on it. Same for some of these other weapons, but some of these weapons can turn into some really unique weapons, but it requires you to upgrade them in different ways.
Damn.
I'll be here.
Yeah. Oh, you can also, let's go to the engrave. I'm not going to do this, but each of your bond rings, or each of your emblem rings, I mean, also, so you can see on Liberation here, I'll show it on Folkvanger. I've got these 4 emblem rings right now. I could imbue this weapon with one of these rings and give it even more stat bumps, but I have to pay a currency for that, and I can also only do this for one weapon at a time. So I've already got this Rivals on an axe, so I'm not going to put it on this one because then it would take it off the axe. Got it. But you can just make the weapons that your characters use even stronger if you want. There's also some outfits. I think this is kind of silly, but you can change the way your characters look at the Somniel. When they're on the battlefield, they're still going to wear whatever clothing their class would wear, but you can buy extra styles, and I can have her wear this cavern set and then put a fucking skull mask on her if I wanted to. I wouldn't do this. I think this looks stupid, but you could do it if you wanted to.
This is still, again, not to keep calling out some other games that we've recently played, but I think about Pokemon, and I think about the limitations on customization of your character there. Even for this, it's just nice to have a little bit of fun to make it feel more unique to you. Yeah.
Last thing, where's Lapis here? Lapis is level 20. It's time to change her class, so let's show off the classes. So all she has is a proficiency in sword. Actually, that's not true. She's got a proficiency in swords and bows. You can see in the bottom left. She gained a proficiency in bows because she has Lyn, the emblem ring Lyn, attached to her. And I've gotten her bond rating up high enough where now she has gained the weapon proficiency for bows. So now I can change her into a class that uses bows, like an archer if I wanted to. Or I could put her in an advanced class, which is a stronger class. This is the stronger class from what she is right now. I could turn her from a sword fighter into a sword master. Look at those stat bumps. Beautiful. But I could also turn her into other classes if I wanted to. I could put her on a Pegasus, and now she would have flight.
How do you approach this? Do you have a rule that you follow when you're advancing classes on characters?
For some games, I do. For this game, I think it's a little less important because this game lets you reclass as much as you want.
Oh, really?
So you don't even have to. Yeah. You can. This is the craziest thing to me. I could turn my sword fighter into a sword fighter, which isn't anything. It just would put her back at level 1, keeping all the same stats she had, and then I could level her back up to level 20 and just get all the stat bumps that come with that, and then do it all again. And I could just keep funneling her through the same class if I wanted to, which is kind of ridiculous. Also, you can upgrade your class or change classes at level 10, so you don't have to wait until level 20 like I did. You could put her right in Swordmaster at level 10 if you wanted to. I'm going to put her in Swordmaster right now just to keep her going through. You also learn skills in these advanced classes. You can see the Swordmaster learns that run through there at the bottom right corner of the screen. And okay, I could give her that run through skill at level 5, and then she can have that. I think she just has that as the class. I don't think that's something that you can inherit like the Emblem Ring skills. But let's put her in this class. But now that she has proficiency in both swords and bows, I could potentially put her in some other classes and put her down a different path for how I want her to turn out. So it's similar to Three Houses in that you could basically have anybody become any class, but it's also a little bit more difficult because it requires you to have the proficiencies, and the proficiencies you're only getting from the emblem rings. So you have to spend more time, and you can only do it individually with different characters to be able to get to that point. Whereas in Three Houses, you could teach all of your students at the same time, hey, you should learn how to fly.
Yeah.
And then everybody could basically switch over at the same time. And that got a little busted.
So really quick on this, because you just you just changed their class, do you have to go another 10 levels before you can do it again, or is it just ready to go now?
It looks like I can change from an advanced class to any other advanced class with just the second seal. I don't have to be required level, advanced class level 1. So yeah, I could turn her into a bow knight now. She's got that bow proficiency and the sword proficiency. I could turn her into this instead. It would cost a second seal, which is a relatively rare item. But if I wanted to, if I felt like, hey, I'd rather have her move 6 spaces, I'd rather have her have this ability to use bows, this might be something I'd consider. I'm going to try having her with Swordmaster right now because I really like her that way. But I could also turn her into all these other different classes. Or if I gave her... I can't remember which one has axe right now. I know Leaf can give you basically all of them. If I gave her Leaf's ring and got her axe proficiency, I could turn her into any one of these axe units as well. Same for any of these classes, I guess. So we'll see. Maybe I'll keep her this. Maybe I'll change her into something else. But right now, I kind of just want to keep them as they in their quote unquote normal classes.
Yeah.
Because I actually really like that. It makes me think about the way they get built up a little bit more. They're in more defined roles.
Sure. Instead
of, again, Three Houses where it's like, oh, well, I just want everybody to be a cavalier, and now everybody's on a horse. And that kind of felt inauthentic to not have characters in classes that they felt like they should be, especially when they're in supports where, Bernadetta is talking about, oh yeah, I'm this archer, and it's like, well, I took you out of the archer class 30 hours ago, so that feels a little weird. These guys feel like they're a little stickier in, hey, Jade's a big burly armor knight here, and yeah, I could turn her into another class, but it's tougher to get her that way. So when she talks about being a big burly armor knight, it makes a little bit more sense.
I think that's
about it.
Thanks. I appreciate the overview here. This is super helpful for me because I'm 20 hours behind you. I think that a few thoughts, just like as we're wrapping up here.
Sure.
I look back on my time with Three Houses, and I thoroughly enjoyed going through that game, but it was bloated and very heavy with a lot of the stuff around the monastery and all that stuff. I think for folks...
Yeah, I loved... Sorry to interrupt. I loved playing through Fire Emblem Three Houses once.
Yeah.
And I tried a second playthrough with a different house because that game is built to be played 3, if not 4 times. And I just couldn't do it. I didn't, they did add ways to make some of that monastery stuff go by faster.
Yeah.
but it was really plotting, and I just got to the point of like, man, I love Fire Emblem, but I don't think this is it.
Yeah.
This game, I think I could play again, but I also think this game is just built in a way where I don't think I have to play it again. I think I could just continue building on these characters and reclassing people and going through different missions and having a better time that way.
That's what I was like alluding to here, is that this feels very intentionally just like in and out. Go and do your shit. Come back here if you want to like tinker with builds, but then go fight and do that. And I think that can be like, for me, very welcoming. I think for people who have come to like marry their partners and all that fun stuff, which there's a time and place for, they might feel a little less fulfilled with this one, but it's exactly what I wanted. When I heard that there's another Fire Emblem game coming out, in my gut, I was like, all right, I want this, but I don't know if I have, like, I'm going to have to work myself up to like all the stuff that goes with managing the people. And this seems to be a very intentionally direct way of just celebrating what made Fire Emblem so special.
Yeah, and sorry, I I had that terrible Anna thing.
Yeah.
Anna, also one of the more cartoonish characters here.
Yeah.
Anna's kind of a joke character anyway. She shows up in most Fire Emblem games, but she's a
tiny little girl
in
with a
this
huge
one.
axe.
She's the closest thing to Tiny Tina in this whole game. I like her more than Tiny Tina, but it's not great. Anyway, yeah, I think you're right. I don't know if this is going to be my favorite Fire Emblem game. I think Shadows of Valentia is still way up there. For me, there are Fire Emblem games that I think I'd rather go back to, as this is more of that quick hit. I can just go in, mission, whereas this one, like Three Houses, has a little bit more upkeep you still want to do between missions. Though, like we said, I think it has less upkeep than Three Houses does, and that feels better.
Yeah.
But like a Fire Emblem Awakening to me, or even a Fire Emblem Fates, those games felt like kind of forever games where I could just keep grinding on this save. I don't need to replay it again. I could just go in and keep doing things on this one save and have a good time that way. And so, I mean, I've played 26 hours of this within the first 2 days of release. Obviously, I'm having some kind of fun.
You're digging it.
Yeah, but we'll talk more about this on Wednesday when we do our normal podcast for the Casual Hour. But Bobby, thanks for hanging out with me and playing some Fire Emblem Engage. Would you like to tell the folks more about how they could watch more of our stuff?
100%. And Chase, thanks again for the tour. I found it very insightful and helped me decide on a few things I'm going to do. We're the Casual Hour, 2/3 of that at least, and we play video games 3 to 2 times a week, depending on what we're doing. Mondays and Fridays on twitch.tv/casual hour at 10:30 p.m. Central. You can find either myself and Chase, me and Johnny, or a combo of the three of us playing a different type of video game. We put quick looks like the one you just watched up twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday mornings on youtube.com/casual hour. So if you've enjoyed this, or if you're not quite there yet, go watch some of our other stuff and then like and subscribe and hang out with us every Tuesday and Thursday here on YouTube. And then Wednesday night, as Chase called out, is when we record our podcast, The Casual Hour, which includes things like monthly previews, deep dives, and what you've been playing. We cover the news and our gaming habits every week at 10:30 p.m. Central on Twitch. And if you just want to hear us and not watch us, cool too. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find ours, The Casual Hour, where all podcasts hang out every Friday at 10 a.m. Central. New episodes go live. Chase, this was awesome. This was Fire Emblem Engage. This is on the Nintendo Switch exclusively. It is $60 for the base game, $30 for the expansion pass. That gets you immediate characters that Chase showed off tonight, as well as, I think, 2 to 3 more waves of content. I thoroughly enjoyed my time here, and I hope you all did as well.